Using conversational hypnosis to get people to really hear what you're saying. Stay tuned. This is Damon from NLP Gym, NLP Techniques, how to get people to really listen up. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. Do you ever get the feeling when you're talking to someone that they're not really listening to you? You can get that sense that they're listening to their own inner monologue, or they're making pictures in their mind of things they would rather be doing, or worse, they're thinking about what they want to say, so they're not really paying attention to what you're saying. If you haven't had that experience, I guarantee you it's happened to you, you just didn't realize it. What people say, what we have to say, we think is the most important thing that there is to be said, which is why most of us aren't really listening that well. So how do you get people to really listen up and really listen to what you're saying? Well, you have to sound like you have something very important to say. And one way that you can do that is by pausing and dropping your tonality and begin to say what comes next in a much slower pace and with a lower tonality, like I'm almost breathing my words. But you can't keep this pace for long because you might put people to sleep. Or are you going to piss off people who are really visual? Really visual people make pictures in their mind of what you're saying, and if everything is in slow motion, after a while this will start to wear on them. So you can't keep that up. What you actually want to do is you want to vary your vocal speed. It's called vocal variety. And in hypnosis, what we do is we pause right before we want to give a hypnotic command. You don't have to give a hypnotic command though. You can just pause right before you say something very important. People want to fill that gap, and what you'll start to notice is when you pause like that, and you pause in an unnatural place where you're about to say something. You might have noticed in your mind you kind of locked onto that because you wanted to fill that gap, that space. So a pause, if it's not overused, remember you can't overuse this. When you use a pause and then deliver the important message you have to say, and then once you're done, pick the speed back up and continue on with whatever it is. So for example, your intro, this is really good for presentations, by the way, and for sales. If you're giving a presentation to a group of people, you want to talk fast enough to where you're not putting them to sleep right away. They don't think that you're going to be a bore. If you start off talking really slow, they might just think, oh, this person's going to be a bore, and they tune out. You don't want that. Speaking really fast can actually get people to listen better as well because they need to keep up. At the same time though, if you stick with one speed throughout your entire speech, presentation, sales presentation, or just talking to a friend or whatever conversation, if you stick to one speed, it's repetitive, and that's why people tune out. But if you speak in variety, where you're speaking fast and then you slow it down a little bit, like this, and then you pick it back up, it'll seem natural and it'll keep the person more interested. When you're giving that presentation, you're having that conversation, you're on that date, whatever it might be, you start off with your introduction, you speak at a normal pace, you do whatever the usual conversation formality is, and then when you get to the meat, you give it that pause and you talk, allowing there to be space between your words, and you will likely notice people leaning in, or when they're sitting in their chair, they'll start to lean forward like that. And just remember, once you're done with the meat, you need to pick it back up, get a little bit faster, and move through to the next part where you're getting into the next meaty part of the conversation, the presentation, or whatever it is that you're talking about. It does take time to get really good at it. Mastering your voice is a wonderful thing to do. Your voice is very powerful when you can speak, when you've mastered it, where you can speak at the speed that you want, when you want, you're conscious of it, you're aware of it. You can also drop tonality, or you can raise your tonality. The more you practice this, the more commanding and charismatic you're going to be. I would recommend practicing in front of a mirror. I would recommend practicing by recording yourself on your smartphone. If you can and you don't feel like you're deceiving people, go ahead and record yourself during a conversation. Many people don't realize how fast they speak, and when they slow down even just a little bit, it feels really unnatural. So it takes some practice. Believe me, you speak faster than what you think you speak. Most people do. And when you start to slow it down, you're thinking you're going super slow, but in actuality, people are loving it because you're finally slowing down and they can really take time to let those words process. It's good to record yourself and you get a sense of how fast you talk and how slow can you get away with speaking really slow. And you will be really surprised. You will think people are noticing that you're doing something strange. A lot of times they don't, unless you go really slow like this. And then of course they're gonna say, that's kind of weird, what are you doing? Start off practicing with friends so that if they do call you out and they say, okay, what's going on? They're a friend of yours, you just say, oh, yeah, I'm trying this thing out where I'm varying the speed at which I speak. The more you do it though, and the more you practice it, the more natural it will be. A really good person to model, a really good example of what I'm talking about is the actor Johnny Depp. Watch him in interviews. He's typically speaks very slow, very rhythmic and resonant, and he's got a great voice and it draws you in. He does vary it though. He tends to be on the slow side, but he does vary it. And lately I've been watching interviews with him and I can't believe that he's not even saying that much, but for some reason I'm like really tuned into what he's saying because he's actually inducing a trance in the people he's talking to. I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but that's part of his charisma. Give that a try. Let me know what the results are. I'd love to hear your feedback. Again, this is great for presentations, great for sales, and great even for casual conversation. Just try it out and see what happens. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on Facebook for real-time updates on upcoming workshops and free practice sessions that I hold right here in Santa Cruz, California. If you like this video, please click like right down here and leave me a comment or a question. I will follow up with you. Also, stay tuned to the end of this video so you can get your hands on a free online NLP training. Take care.